This is part six of Christian Dating, everything you need to know. So, now we're in the meat of things, that we're beginning to, set up dates, whatever, get to know people, whether that be, Christian dating, um, in public, churches, in that kind of setting. Um, so, it's my opinion that in the past 10, 11 years since I was on the dating scene, I believe there is like a falling away. And so world's getting worse and worse kind of thing. So I do believe it's going to be difficult to find Christian woman, man, that kind of thing. I do believe it's going to get, a little more difficult. It doesn't mean it's impossible. Um, Obviously, as far as just, dating, in the secular world, like that's, super easy. Like, you just, find someone to, go out with and, go from there. But, you know, longevity, that's not probably going to work out. So, I did want to get some. I did look this up. I was very interested in to see different like polls and stuff like that. In Christianity and like how many Christians are in the world. Approximate. Obviously, it's a poll, so yeah. I mean, it's how accurate it's going to be. Who knows? But I try to get some kind of feel for what's out there. So there's a site I went to. It's called, it says like map the world's major religions. So this is on February 11th of 2022. So a few months away. It's like the most recent thing I could find. So it said that around 31% of the world's population are Christians, closely followed by Muslims at 25%. So 31%, that's roughly a third, a little less than a third. And so the number came out to be 2.4 billion people. Okay, so when you think of, where this is at, like the highest population was in United States, and then Brazil, Mexico, and Europe, things like that. So yeah, so about roughly one third of the whole world's population are considered Christians. However, you need to ask yourself, okay, what subgroups, what does that mean? And so I looked up, and it said about 50% of people labeled Christians identify as Catholic, and so about 37% are labeled as Protestant, including Anglicans. So 50% Catholic. So 50% of that, 31% of the world, are Catholic. So you're down to 15, 16%. So the reason I bring any of this stuff up is because Catholicism teaches, works-based salvation, which is not biblical. And I have a whole playlist, on Catholicism. If you guys want to look that up, that's in my playlist. I have tons of material on that stuff. So I do have tons of family in Catholicism. So I did a lot of research on that stuff, and find it very important. So yeah, so 50% of the 2.4 billion people rather. So 50% of that, so that's 1 point some billion people, right? So I basically breaking it down. So after that is then it goes to Protestant, including Anglicans. So that's 37%. And then they have some like Orthodox stuff, which makes up another 12%. And then the other 1% is like they say Mormons, Christian Scientists, and Jehovah's Witnesses. So yeah. So I'm assuming it doesn't say that like probably Baptists are probably like Protestants. Lutherans. I don't know if that would fall into Catholicism. Presbyterian. They got so many. Methodists. There's so many denominations out there. So the only reason I'm bringing this up is so you do 1 out of 3 people in the world are Christian, right? According to this poll, approximately. Well, then you cut that in half because, or I'm sorry, so 37% are labeled Protestant. So that's roughly a third too. So then it's like 1 out of 9 people are in the world are probably Protestant. You know what I mean? So, but some of that's Anglican and other stuff too. So it's like and are Lutherans considered Protestant? And you know what I mean? So like, there's so many different variables. So it's like 1 in 9 people in the world are Protestant. And you know what I mean? I don't believe that all Protestants are saved because like that's I just don't believe that. Like, some people might, be trusting in their works. And it's like the same with Catholicism. I don't believe all, professing Catholics, are saved either. But, opposite, I don't believe they're all unsaved either. So, yeah. So, anyway, going through all that math stuff, I apologize if you guys are like, what? And so, 1 in 9 people are in the world are probably Protestant. So obviously, percentage is higher. If you live in the United States, or it depends where you guys are from, obviously. So it's not going to be so cut and dry or black and white. But then I don't know. Like, I'm kind of thinking like 1 out of 20 girls or 1 out of 20 guys or whatever your opposite sex of who you're dating. I bring this up because I don't want you guys to basically think that, oh, I this is not going to take any time at all, like and your mileage may vary, just because I may have gotten married on a secular or secular dating site. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean that's going to happen to you guys, and vice versa. So I mean, the first date you have that might work out. You know what I mean? Like, for your future. Or it might take you like 50 dates. 50 different people. I don't know. Like, I mean, there's so many variables and stuff, and so I just want to put it out there. This might take you guys some time. Especially depending if you want to date or you want to court, kind of thing. And maybe I can bring that up later on, like what those definitions mean. But yeah, I mean, your mileage is going to vary. So I don't know. I want to be realistic, with stuff like this. I don't want to get people's hopes up, but then again, I don't want to, dissuade people either. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go through some stuff, and some stuff I got written down. So some tips I got. Basically, like, number one, don't be afraid to say no. And I know that I just said, you're gonna go through all these dates and stuff, and I mean, I just a lot of people have the mentality, that hey, it's gonna, I gotta pick the first person I see, or some people might be, just, I don't know, feel like they can't get anyone else, or what I mean, that kind of thing. Like, it's a hard thing. Like, I get it, and so I just I don't want you guys to be afraid of saying no. Like, if you guys see the red flags, like, definitely don't. I realize we get this like tunnel vision kind of thing, when we're both in that situation, and I and I guess that's gonna go with like the number 2 tip I have. Kind of rely not too heavily, but not too little either. Rely on, people's, opinions of, what they think of, you're the person you're dating. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, like my wife, like when my wife and I were dating, like we were fighting all the time, like literally like all the time. And so like one of her family members like said, "Are you sure you want to?" I mean, like, and I mean, if it's your family member saying that, or like one of your best friends, like kind of saying, "Hey, I'm kind of seeing something that maybe you're not," like, take that to heart. Like, these people care about you, they love you. Take that stuff to heart. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, you need to be discerning too, but don't 100% rely on all your family and stuff like that, but don't ignore it either. So yes, the third thing I would say, when you go on these dates, or even if you're online dating, you're asking these people questions, have questions written down, just, I don't know, to not be boring, you know what I mean? Like, um, yeah, there's a variety of questions out there, and the fourth one I would say, um, it's kind of like a branching off that. Speaking of questions, like have a balanced questions. Have questions about Christianity. Not 100% because Christianity, because you want to get to know the person too. What you want to know what they're all about, and but I would have a balance of Christianity in it, questions to them, like things you can ask, favorite verses, or favorite book of the Bible, and I think that'll be helpful, in a few ways, because that way you can weed out basically people who, because there's like I said before, there's professing Christians out there, there's believers, unbelievers, people who act like believers but they're not. And so there's people who will tolerate you asking them biblical questions, or like stuff, interests and stuff like that. People will tolerate that for a while, but I mean, after a while it's going to get really old. And so um, if they don't care about it, is what I'm saying. So you don't want to you don't want to push these people away, but you don't want to avoid all the Christianity questions, or talk about that either. So yeah, you definitely want to see what kind of date your person is. So I'll leave it there. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.